What is up? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You can see these handsome men that I'm hanging out with today. It's hard not to have a great show, to hang out with two of the best leaders, two of the innovators from around the industry. I'm hanging out with John Fraas. I'm hanging out with John Tallinger. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, we're talking about appraisal domination in 2022. So many of you may have misconceptions when it comes to AMCs, but we're going to be answering those questions. We're going to get to your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, are you guys ready? It's going to be an amazing show. Come shred with us. I got to tell you guys, I'm seriously stoked to have Fraas and Tallinger hanging out with me today. You guys know them, you love them, but now we're going to be talking things that are actually valuable. We're going to be giving you everything you need to know when it comes to appraisals. Plus, it's not only this month, we've got some really great content planned for this entire new year of 2022 with class valuation. So very excited to be getting into it. We got John Fraas, we got John Tallinger. Guys, how are you this morning?
We're good. Our favorite topic, right? Talking about appraisals.
Let's go.
What better thing to be talking about, especially right now in the world of mortgage, guys. And you guys, I don't know if there's two better people to be talking about this, because in the world of appraisals, you guys know that sometimes it's AMCs, it's appraisers. They get the bad rap of the industry. And it's just sometimes like we as originators, as mortgage people, we're like, oh, we're going to blame it all on the appraisal. We're going to blame it all on these guys. But we're going to be setting the record straight. We're going to be talking about a lot of valuable things today. Before we get into all that, though, just to make sure, like I said, I'm sure everybody knows you guys, but Fraas and Tallinger, I want you guys to give a little bit of introduction to yourselves if people aren't familiar with you guys. Fraas, let's start with you. I'm just used to calling you that. Like I need to be like, hey, John, but having two Johns always make a right. That's how I like to say it. But Fraas, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background real quick.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the other John at Class Valuation. No JT or John Tallinger. I'm the CEO of Class. Been with Class for 4 years. My background held various leadership positions in many different industries, but been at Class for 4 years now. Three things get me going every day. It's first and foremost our team members that are 100% behind our mission and our core values. Love the fact that we continue to make improvements with technology. And lastly, I would say that, we work in an industry that is ripe for disruption. And I think everyone feels it right now. So, getting up every day and working with our team members to really disrupt things and make the process better. So excited to be here today and talk more about appraisals and the exciting things we're doing.
Okay, I'm just going to make sure you all heard that, because this is something, he didn't start with like, he's excited about appraisals. He talked about his team, which, Fraas, I know that's a big thing for you guys. For class valuation, you guys' culture, who you guys are at your core, it's all about your team, who you're surrounding yourself with. That's why you guys have such an incredible team. Like JT and everybody knows, like, you hang out anywhere in the industry, you go to events, JT is there. He's always smiling. He's always just exuberating energy and enthusiasm. So JT, excited to have you. And I mean, if you don't know who JT is, you probably live under a rock, because he's out there, he's getting it done. But JT, excited to have you. For those who may not know you, maybe a little background on yourself.
Thanks, gents. Super excited to be here. Josh, your energy, things that get me up in the morning, trying to be like you, trying to get my shred energy going. John Fraas, like you said, I can't stress it enough. The team. I was just looking at our core values over here. And honestly, probably one of the things I'm most excited about for 2022 is sort of the renewal of where we're headed and what we're doing as a team and how we're ready to take on the industry challenges. So I've been at Class since the day we started in 2009. So becoming kind of a dinosaur. I am a boring old appraiser at heart, but like you said, probably my most important role in the industry and at Class is the relationship side of things. Is just getting out and shaking hands, getting to know people, building those relationships, and making it much more about relationships as opposed to just transactions.
I'm glad you talk about relationships, because we all know, we talk about that so frequently in the industry, is like, hey, the mortgage, the real estate industry, it's built on relationships. And I truly don't think like there's a better way to like get into appraisals and AMCs in particular other than relationships, because let's just be honest, like I want to kind of spearhead this thing right out at the beginning. AMCs are truly incredible to this industry. There's been a lot of talk, some lenders are making movements. Some people are saying, AMCs, that's a thing of the past. But let's kind of set the record straight here, gents. AMCs in particular class, they're truly valuable to the industry. And if everybody listening today, maybe you don't understand the value, we're going to talk about the value a little bit. We're going to share really why partnering and having an AMC have your back, help us as mortgage pros. We're good at what we do. Let the other professionals help us out where we need help. So guys, why are AMCs actually valuable? Why are they important in the mortgage process? Fraas, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception out there that the AMCs basically push paper around and get orders and send them to random appraisers, and then those appraisers get those orders in. To JT's point, it starts with the relationships. We have really tight relationships with our appraisers. We have about 18,000 of them on our panel. The things that we do is we give them volume and we pay them very quickly. So we offer 24-hour quick pay. And they reciprocate great service back to us. So it starts with the relationships. But aside from that, it's really important that you measure data and you leverage technology in our world. So when we look at assigning orders to appraisers, we know some appraisers are better at doing certain property types. We know some appraisers don't want to travel to a certain area. So why waste time assigning an order to someone that is not going to travel somewhere? So it's all about leveraging that data, and Class has a data science team that focuses on that data every day to make sure that we're giving the right order to the right appraiser every time. And that is critical to what we do. So there is technology that we're using to make it faster. There's data that we're leveraging to make it, again, a better process overall. Again, we want things fast, we want them on time, and we want them to be compliant and accurate. And so we do all of those things. And then on top of it, I think Class gets a little bit of a bad perception because we're as large as we are, but we really focus on the customer service. So we're not a large call center. When our clients call us, they're not getting a pool of 100 people to talk to. They get a specific team that they get to work with. They develop relationships with our team members so that they can build trust and know that we're on top of things, and they can call into that team and get what they need. And again, relationships are so important. We know that not every appraisal is going to go right. And when they don't, we want to be responsive, and we want to be able to build that trust with our relationships that we're going to get it done. And then finally, I would say that, without AMCs, who is focused on the future of solving our problems? Right now, if we just keep going down the same path, there's going to continue to be a shortage of appraisers. Appraisals are going to take longer and longer. It's time that an AMC came in here, invested in technology, changed the process, made it better, bring more blood into the industry to solve for capacity problems. Again, without AMCs, I'm not sure who's focused on solving these problems. And we saw it here in 2021 where there just aren't enough appraisers, and capacity is a major problem. And you need someone leading the way and solving for that. And I'm not sure without an AMC, there's anyone focused on doing that.
JT, let's talk about that, because there were so many points you hit in there, Fraas, that are really key, from data to relationships, working together. The process in particular, though, JT, you've been, like you said, you've been with Class since the very beginning, and we've all seen the industry continue to evolve. We've seen processes evolve, but that's why having an AMC have your back, understanding really the most efficient way for an appraisal to flow through the system, because we as mortgage professionals, as originators, everybody listening out there, we know our process. And that's why, like I said in the beginning, letting AMCs flow, have a set process for us, just makes it that much more valuable. So a process is key, right, JT?
Yeah, one thing I got to point out is I think that, as tough of a year as 2021 was a difficult year for the appraisal side of the industry. It brought to light, it really highlighted a lot of challenges, and it really showed the worst case scenario potentially of rates being low, COVID affecting, some of the appraisal workforce. And you had this capacity shortage, where you just didn't have enough appraisers to go out and fulfill all the jobs that were out there, which was generally bad. It caused a lot of delays in the mortgage process. But I think one of the positives that we can take away is it really shed a lot of light on sort of the supply chain of that side of the industry. And I think it's brought a lot of attention, and I think we're starting to see I think acceleration of solutions. And for Class specifically, I think every industry you see so much change happening. You see it in the automotive industry. You see nobody goes to the store and rents videos anymore, and it's right there. It's at your fingertips. Everything's right there. God, I've never seen an industry that's more ripe for change right now than the appraisal industry. And I have to say the most important thing, one of the things that I'm so passionate about, and Fraas is so passionate about at class, is that we're not trying to get rid of appraisers. We're trying to help empower appraisers, to give them the resources to be able to evolve so that we all don't get left behind, so that we can provide new solutions. That's what really, really gets me excited, because the process and the procedures that we've always gone through, they're adapting, they're changing. We're finding solutions. We're trying to really work towards the 2 or 3 day digital appraisal, so we can help get loans closed that much faster and be that much more efficient for the borrower.
You mentioned something there, and I know everybody hearing this, like a 2 or 3 day appraisal, Fraas. Like, is that something like you guys are pushing towards it? I love that you talk about efficiency, JT. Is that something that will eventually will that become a real? Is that something that's going to happen, or is that something that's just like, oh, we hope that's going to happen? Do you guys actually see that 2 or 3 day appraisal happening?
Absolutely, and it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, again, so what we're doing on our digital appraisal process is we're using non-appraisers to go in using our technology to scan a home, which captures it's basically a visual tour. It captures square footage, it captures all the floor plans, everything needed for an appraiser to complete an appraisal. And so the appraiser now no longer will have to actually drive to the property. They can sit at their desk, complete more desktop appraisals than they've ever done before, so they can make more money doing it. And again, they don't have to leave their home. The other important thing is when you're using a non-appraiser workforce, and I know this is important, especially as we head into a heavy purchase season, is getting somebody into that property within 24 to 48 hours to complete the inspection. I think we all see it right now is, when is the appraiser going to get into the property? And the way that a lot of appraisers work is they do all their inspections, 1 day a week or 2 days a week. And then they do the analysis, the later part. Well, again, take that part out of it, get the inspection done right away, have appraisers sitting and ready to do desktop reports where, again, they're going to be able to do more volume. And also, as we start introducing this, we're starting to find more people that are interested in becoming appraisers, which is the other part of the problem, right? Is we have an aging workforce. There just aren't as many appraisers out there. Well, bringing technology and making it a different process and educating people on that process is starting to bring more young talent in and saying, hey, I can be an appraiser. I can make a great living. And so there's all this excitement. Again, it's not going to be overnight, but this is the process to get to a 24 to 48 hour appraisal. As you bring more people into the field to do the inspection, you bring more appraisers in to do desktops, and all of a sudden things speed up and you've got enough capacity. And again, then we get there. And again, class is well on our way on doing that. We're doing about 100 digital appraisals a day right now, and we are seeing significant improvements. One of the biggest improvements is actually, and I know a lot of people have issues with revisions or the amount of times that a report has to go back to an appraiser to fix something. When we're using this technology, we've got a 70% improvement coming from underwriters on sending reports back to get changed. 70% improvement. So think about the time that's lost, because every time you have to go back to an appraiser, they're in the field, they're working on something else, there's a delay in that. Reduce that number. Now you're also speeding things up at, post-completion process as well. So a lot of significant, great benefits that we're seeing from this process.
See, but this is just something that both you guys have hit on. This is why class is leading the way. You talked about technology, Fraas, and I know you guys are working on like 3D imaging. Like, talk about the new metaverse. Everybody's talking, you hear Facebook going meta, and everybody's talking about the new metaverse and this new digital world. But you guys are leading the way in technology. You're making a new age of the appraisal, if you will. And like you said, even with the younger generation, nobody wanted to be, as their kids are coming out of college, or if they're even thinking about going to college, nobody's saying, hey, you know what I want to be when I grow up? I want to be an appraiser. That's what I want to do. But you guys, that's why class, they're continuing to show hey, technology's involved. There's a better process. There's a better way. And you are introducing new young talent, people who, like you said, Fraas, they're like, hey, you know what? I can make a great living. This can be really exciting. This can be different. And JT, I think that's where the the future of our industry is going. That's why class leads the way in it as well, because it is technology, it is culture, it's educating the entire country on what the appraisal process looks like and how it can evolve and actually be efficient for all of us as homeowners, as all of us as mortgage professionals, right?
What's funny, Josh, is that we talk about like think about the entire process and the entire appraisal industry from the engine to the caboose. And for so long, we just talked about things in terms of, hey, the aging appraiser workforce, but we really didn't see anyone getting involved trying to help actually do anything about that. People try to put band-aids on it, but who's actually trying to fix that? One of the things it makes me giddy to think about. I'm so excited and passionate about is over the last month, I've had 3 conversations with two people that are still in college, like in their junior year, and they're looking at career options, and one who's a recent college graduate. And they all were interested. They sort of heard from people that work here or sort of through the grapevine and wanted to talk about, hey, should I follow this path? What options are there for me? Should I, and that's the first time I've ever really thought about, hey, this is so exciting to have this fresh blood and people wanting to join this industry, and there being some really good long-term opportunity for them. And then so we look at trying to bring more fresh blood in. But I think one of the things that sort of gets lost in this is that where we're going with digital appraisal, not only is it helping to bring fresh blood in, but it's also extending the shelf life of the existing appraiser. I can tell you right now, living in Michigan, appraising houses in the wintertime is terrible. And today, I think is the solstice or the equinox, and I think it's like the shortest day of the year. So I can tell you, the appraisers in Michigan right now, the earliest they can probably go out and inspect a property is like 9 a.m. because the sun comes up late, and then the sun's going to be down by 4:30 p.m. and you're trekking around in the snow. It's not the best way of life, especially as you start to get older. If you get to your 60s and your 70s, you want to continue appraising. It's very difficult to do so in a cold state like Michigan in the wintertime. And now that appraiser can stay home and work from their office and and not have to go inspect the property, or they could move to Florida, but still they have their geographic competence in Michigan, and we can give them basically all you can eat. Instead of going out in the field and doing 2 or 3 appraisals, they can sit at their desk in Florida and do 6, 8 appraisals where they're doing the analysis side of it. So I think we're extending that, the back end for the aging appraiser as well.
Well, I think this is a good point. Fraas, you kind of hit on this as well. Because class has the data, this starts to open up a whole new world for not only more accurate like appraisal values, but like JT is mentioning here, the future of the appraisers themselves. Having that data, there's nobody who has the data that class does. This begins to simplify that process. It begins to start helping that process become more and more efficient. Data is a key element when it comes to the future of appraisals, right?
100%. And class probably has as much or more appraisal data than any other company out there. We've completed over 1.5 million appraisals. And again, our data scientists can start leveraging that data to assist appraisers, and not only just in finding the right appraiser, but to help them be more efficient and complete more accurate reports. And one of the other things that we haven't brought up is, in 2021, class acquired a company called DataMaster. DataMaster is a great technology that not many appraisers are aware of that's out there, but it makes the comp selection process far more simple than it has to be. It connects in with their forms provider. It pulls in all their MLS comps so they don't have to key anything in. It basically displays everything at their fingertips to make it a much more efficient process. Combine that with the data that we have, we're going to start evolving into a process where the appraiser doesn't have to do nearly as much research, where we're going to be able to start showing them, here's what the most relevant properties are from a comp perspective. Again, a lot more form filling to just make them more efficient. So yeah, data and technology, again, this is an area where, appraisers, there's so much opportunity in what we do that we can start leveraging this. And again, it all yields to more efficiency, which I think results in what all clients and everyone's looking for, which is, faster, more accurate, on time type service, which is what we all come to expect in the world we live in today.
100%. And they're talking about an appraiser right here, Patrick Felvey out of Michigan. Good appraisers realize that AMC's like class always have work, profession group, and advocates for the appraisers. Great teamwork and grow with. So there you go. That's coming from an appraiser right there. Understanding that AMCs have your back. They are providing the data, the new opportunities, the technology. There's so many pieces like we have mentioned today that really do, like, the AMCs are so valuable to us as an industry, to us as mortgage professionals. So don't get in this idea that like, oh no, there's a new world without AMCs. It's cutting out the middleman, especially for all you brokers. You are the middlemen. Stop thinking about cutting out the middleman. What's wrong with you guys? But actually, good question coming in from Jackson Ball. Thanks, Class Valuation, for stepping up. How will the reduction in refis affect the speed purchase of appraisals this next year? So what are you guys' thoughts on that as we start to see refis decline, as rates start to hike up? Will we start to see those turn times start to come down a little bit as we've discussed a little?
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a big drop in refis. I think the MBA is forecasting for 2022 an overall 35% decline in origination. So, yeah, we're starting to see it now, right? We're starting to see more capacity open up with our appraiser partners. We're starting to get requests for more work, and all this means is faster time to assign, faster inspections, and a reduction in overall turn times. Again, class is really focused on the assignment process, especially with purchases, because we understand that the clock is running, and as purchase market heats up, it's going to be more competitive. There's going to be more bidding wars on houses, and it's going to be who can close quickest. And so getting the appraiser to the property as fast as possible is extremely important to us. And one of the, again, I go back to this digital appraisal process. One of the things we're really focused on right now is winning the purchase business and focusing in on key markets and getting that inspection done within 24 to 48 hours. Again, that may not solve for the overall turn time, but we understand the pressure that everyone in mortgage is getting from real estate agents on when is the inspection going to be scheduled? When is someone going to come out to inspect the property? And using a third-party network to do that, we should be able to start setting SLAs within our company to get them out and get them performed within 24 to 48 hours of the time of order. So we hear you. We understand the importance on purchase and timing, and we're focusing on it. In fact, our company's really focused on right now, from even digital to a traditional appraisal. How do we get those through the pipeline faster? How do we make that process better? Because we understand that purchase is extremely important from a timing perspective. Not to say refi is not, but purchase and timing, especially with what we saw in 2021, speed is king. And again, we don't want to upset any borrowers. We don't want borrowers losing a property because we can't get an appraisal done.
Right. Fraas, you just said something that was so key. And I don't even know if you caught it, but everybody listening, well, Fraas just said, he says, we hear you. Class Valuation is listening. And I know, JT, that's one of the responsibilities, something that you do so well in this industry is you do listen. You're out there. You're among our peers. You're among the people working so hard in the trenches. You guys are listening to feedback. You're listening to what's important to the originator, to mortgage companies, to lenders. And then you're adapting them. You're putting those practices into place, which is so exciting for me. And you kind of already led into this, Fraas, but I want to, as we start to wrap things up here, JT, going into 2022, there's so many opportunities, like you said, from data to technology. There's so many things that we can be excited for. I know there's things that you guys are excited for, but what is it that really gets you excited for 2022, the appraisal space, and for AMCs in particular this next year?
I'm gonna say really quick. So sort of touching on what you're talking about, for the future. We talked about the relationship piece being so important. So I love the feedback. Thank you, Patrick Felvey. Great, appraiser, great advocate, kind of one of the legends of the appraisal side of the industry. Listening feedback from people like that, talking to them, helping to spread that word, because I think change doesn't happen overnight. So, Class's biggest initiative for 2022 is to really drive that awareness and really drive our solutions for digital and make that the new norm. So talking with people like Patrick and finding out, where we can help them, where we can partner together. Jackson, thank you. I assume probably a broker. Thank you so much, for your service. Would love to chat with you, offline and talk to you a little bit about, if you're at 14 plus days, where things are headed, how we can help you in the short term, and then how we can help you in the long term as well. Getting the feedback and actually spending time talking to our broker partners and our appraiser partners is what really helps make us better. I know John touched on a bunch of the initiatives of kind of where we're headed for 2022. I'm just very excited for things to calm down a little bit, for those appraisers to open up some of that capacity, for them to not be overwhelmed and pulling their hair out. And then the same side for the originators and the brokers, to not be so stressed with the process. So we can actually get back to focusing on what we all do best.
Oh, I like that. Fraas, and let's kind of, as we wrap things up here, I know you've hit on a few of those things and JT hit on a couple of them as well, but what gets you excited? You've mentioned a few of them that really, you guys are listening, you guys are about your culture and your team, but what gets you really excited for this next year in 2022 with Class?
Yeah, there's really two things. There's the digital appraisal process, continuing to refine that, make that better. Again, we're doing only about 100 orders a day under that process, but really expanding it, and again, making it a clear-cut solution that the industry sees and wants to do more of. The other thing we're really focused on is building out a staff appraiser model. So we're going out and we're actively recruiting and hiring appraisers. And the reason why we're doing that is because that gives us flexibility, right? When something's going wrong or we can't get an order assigned, if we have a staff appraiser, then we can lean on them to help us out in a bind. That gives us more control over the process. And again, the other thing that we're looking to do with staff appraisers is we're trying to get them set up with being a supervisor appraiser and give them trainees to bring more people into the industry, but also, again, make them more efficient. A supervisor with trainees can complete far more reports than they can if they work for themselves. So setting that up and again, making them more efficient, going from doing, 1 to 2 reports a day to 4 to 6 reports a day. So again, setting the table and continuing to build off of what we started in 2021. And again, I hope all AMCs out there are focused on us. Just because the market's going to slow, that doesn't mean that AMCs should take their foot off the gas and stop focusing on solving the problem. We will run into this problem again with capacity. And so now's the time to continue to push forward and find that solution. And that's what we're focused on, and we'll continue to build that out. And then lastly, I would say, there are a lot of changes coming from FHFA. Just yesterday, they announced the new ANSI standards that are going to be out in April. They're talking about, having digital floor plans, things that are going to be, policy. Well, again, our technology creates all of those things for appraisers. And, as lenders are out there and appraisers are out there and they're looking at these changes, come talk to Class. We're well positioned to be able to offer those products and make sure that we meet all the guidelines. Again, and also, this I think is a good lead-in way into going full digital, where again, we might not need appraisers to actually do the inspection process. So it's going to be a fun year. Again, we're really focused on solving the problems, and again, we're excited about it, and we're not taking our foot off the gas here, guys. So thanks for everyone for being a great partner, and please keep holding us accountable, and we'll keep doing our best for you guys.
I mean, that comes from you, and JT said the same thing. Again, I know you guys listen. I've been with both of you guys. When you're taking phone calls, you're looking at texts from people saying, hey, can we work on this? Can we look at this? And JT's like, yes, we can help. Like, you guys are always involved and you're always listening to what's going on in the industry. Chris Barr, I just want to highlight real quick. I see your question, Chris. How's the AMC part of the industry dealing with the appraisal panel? That's definitely a question for another day. We're running out of time, Chris, but I will make sure that JT or Fraas or somebody from the team actually gets back to you with that question, because that is a really good question. And I'm sure that as we continue to work with Class, we've got a lot of fun episodes coming up in the future, from reconsideration of value, which I know a lot of you guys have questions about, a lot of questions with that. So those are going to be questions we answer in the future. With that, guys, huge shout out to John Fraas and huge shout out to John Tallinger for joining us today. We appreciate everybody being part of this and for the questions and everything you guys have contributed. So JT, Fraas, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Josh.
So much more to come. Happy holidays to everybody joining us. We appreciate everybody taking their time out of their busy schedules to hang out with us and get some of these questions answered. Like we have all mentioned, a big year coming out of Class Valuation. You guys are going to have to stay tuned. AMCs are here to help you, all you mortgage and real estate professionals. We need them. And as we partner with them, as we look to them, they're going to continue to help us. So with that, guys, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you guys to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.